Hello, welcome back. As you can see, I've done quite a bit of work on this Scammell Commander. No need to show you the instructions today because it's basically stuff that I've assembled and a couple of little bits that I've put on that aren't really in the kit that I think should be, but there you go. I'll just stop this spinning around for a while. As you can see, the chassis and roller running gear is assembled. Underneath, it's really quite detailed under there. Look at that. There's a lot of stuff on there. There's also a lot of stuff that's not on the instructions or that's not explained properly on the instructions. Let's get a pointer. You can see in there there's a torque bar that I haven't painted. I haven't painted it because so that I'm trying to remember to tell you about it. It's not on the instructions. It's not mentioned on the instructions. It's on the sprue, but it's not on the instructions. There's also another one on this side that I did paint before I remembered not to. And what else is there that's under there? Yeah, this guard here, it's like a sump guard if you like, and it's to guard that oil filtered air. It's not on the instructions at all. It's on the sprue, but it's just not on the instructions at all. It would be easy to miss. I missed it until I realised there's got to be something there to protect that and went looking for it. I may have mentioned to you, in fact I'm sure I did mention to you on the last video, that the only way to get this so that it's poseable with the wheels turned, these old Scammells, they didn't have much of a steering lock. If you were going around a corner and on some of them without power steering, you had to stand up, and you'd very often end up backing up to do a shunt. However, these bars, I've cut them, these tie rods, cut them and then join them back together again. Take the piece out of this one and put it into this one so that you get an equal turn on the wheels. In real life, of course, it would be this section that moved, these two rams that moved, but it would have been much more difficult to cut the ends of the rams and make it look right than it was to cut this. When it's been painted, you'll never notice that, it'll all gone away. The way I've done it is cut them in half, glued them, because they're end to end, a butt joint like that, it's not a very strong joint, so I put on top of them a little bit of shrink wrap tubing, and that's strengthened it up no end. It's fine then. As you can see on the top, there's a big mass of wires. I decided to make all the lights on it workable. What I didn't realise was how big a job that was going to be, and you can see from the top there's really quite a lot of wires. And what we've got basically is on the front you've got two fog lamps underneath and two headlights. You've got two indicators or hazard lights. You've then got at the back here the normal array of lights on the back, indicators, hazard lights, stop and tail lights and reversing lamps. All of those are wired in so that they work, and I'll get a battery and show you how they work. So on the front there, no you can't, I'm literally holding the wires onto the end of a battery here. It's never going to be right, is it? You can see the hazard lamps at the front there flashing, and do the same thing at the back. You can see the hazard lamps at the back flashing. Not very good at the moment because I'm holding the battery on my fingers. If I turn that around, okay, and all the rear lights are working there. And if we turn it around, we've got all the front lights there. As I say, it's not great because I'm holding the battery on with my fingers. Never a good idea. So that's all that's the wiring, and that will all be covered up by the bonnet and the cab. When it's on there, it all disappears, and of course the cab sits on there, and all the wiring's gone under the floors and under the bonnet. So that's the wiring, and you can see it's really quite complex. It all runs through different varying areas of the tractor, but you can't really tell. Once it's painted, it disappears. In fact, I'm struggling to see it on the video myself there. There it is, you can just see it running all through there now. And it all runs down along the chassis members here. And a real truck, there's all sorts of wiring and piping running through. You can see it going through there all over the place. So it's not unusual to see loads of wires and pipes in a truck, simple as that. I've got the winch cable set in there, that comes off the winch. I've used a piece of 1mm picture wire, and in real life it comes around here, it comes through these two rollers, comes off the cable drum, goes through two rollers there in the middle, and comes through these two rollers. It can then either go up and over the trailer so that it goes over here to drag the trailer on, or it can go down and it can lift up a swan neck trailer, lift it up and pull it up onto the fifth wheel. In real life it goes through there when it's not being used. It goes through those two rollers, it comes along here, goes along inside the chassis there, comes out, and it sits on a peg there. Now strangely, the peg's there in the kit, but this piece that would be on the end of it to fix it onto there, or to fix it onto whatever it was going to pull, isn't in the kit. Very easy to fashion one, just make one out of a couple of little bits of sprue and plonk it on there, that's that. Looking on the back, for some reason in the kit they don't give you mud flaps. You can buy them as an accessory, but you know, I'm all for not spending a fortune on these things, and in my eyes you don't really need to. All I've done there is two pieces of 0.5mm sheet plastic and an extra piece to go along there on each side, and then cut three tiny little pieces of sprue off and glued them on. They're to represent the rivets, or the bolts that would hold that on. And I defy anybody, if they didn't know that wasn't in the kit, to pick it as not part of the kit. The wheels, with these wheels, there are nuts that you don't take off. As you can see, there's some that are painted normal green and some that are painted red. Don't take the red ones off. And if you're taking a wheel off, take off the ones that aren't painted. Simple as that. These are for a double reduction hubs, diffs. Don't take those. You wouldn't take those off either. The actual wheel nuts are down inside there, inside the wheel rim. You can just see them on this thing here. Yeah. If you take that off, you're going to get a bath of oil. I think I've explained at some point in the last video about the exhaust pipes. It's a real task getting those exhaust pipes on, but once they're on, they're fairly rigid. It's okay once you've got them on. What I have done, there's some very, very fragile pieces in this kit. These pieces here, these are handrails so that you can climb up onto the top. They are plastic in the kit. There's one on each side, obviously, and there you go. You can just about see them there. Goes along there. In the kit they're plastic and they're very, very thin and very, very fragile, so I'll replace those with steel wire. I've already mentioned in the kit there's no handle for this hand winch here, and this winch here, you would pull it out and you would use it to pull this cable out. So you'd pull it out and pull this cable back in with it. That cable there would be the actual winch cable would be very heavy. It makes life a lot easier if you can winch it in. In the kit you get these three filters, and then 3 moulded pipes that go on the side here. It doesn't look right at all. So what I've done is I've used a piece of 0.5mm steel wire and put 3 pipes on there. You can just see that they stand off a little bit at the side. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. That they stand off a little bit. There's another wire coming out here that's not, I've not connected it to anything yet. Just so I'm getting a bit closer to that. Yeah, that one there. And that is for the accelerator. And the accelerator will go back on the back of the cab, and that increases your engine revs so that you can control the speed of the winch. So that will have a piece of wire attached to it, and it will fasten to the back of the cab the same as it does in real life. After I decided to put it there, I found on the in the kit that they've actually included a throttle handle there. That one there is a throttle handle, so I might scrap that completely and use that one. But that wire will still go to the back of the cab and go under the cab. So that's where the throttle handle is. In the kit, you don't get any of these control levers. They just don't exist. So what I've done is I've used a piece of 1mm black wire, aluminium wire, cut it to size. It's hard to see on there, isn't it? Yeah, cut them to size, and then on the end of them I've dipped them in a little bit of Gorilla Glue and then hung them upside down so that you get a teardrop effect on the end, and then just painted a teardrop red. Works for me. Underneath there you can see that I put all the pipes in. None of these pipes are included in the kit, so I put those in, and I don't know if I can get a bit more light on there. No, I don't think I can. But all the pipes have been included in there. I'll put some photographs on, of course, so you can see all of it in much more detail. You just pause the video on the photograph you want to look at. This little switch here is a stop switch, I'm guessing, for the engine, so that if you get into problems with the winch, you just hit the switch and it will die, it will kill it. Underneath all of those wires, all those pipes go to various places, and I've run them into the hydraulic tanks that they would have gone into. Other than that, on there, I don't think there's much more to say. I think I've covered it all there. There is a winch, a cable system here, and I put it all on the wrong way round. So I didn't realise I'd done that until I came to assemble this as a whole, if you like. So I ended up cutting the top pulley off that and then assembling it. I had to do that, otherwise the cab wouldn't have fitted. And I can show you that on the instructions. And it's this pulley system here. Oh, where's it gone? There. This pulley system here. It has 2 pulleys, one on top of the other, and I've had to cut the top one off because I'd put the whole thing in the wrong way round, so the cab would no longer fit. Mistake, nothing I could do about it. At the front, these posts for the mirrors, there are several mirrors on this, and 2 of them go here, one on the top of the post. I don't know if you can see that, can you see? Yeah, of course you can. One on the top of the post and one on the bar, the T-bar at the side. Again, this was in the kit. This comes as a piece of plastic, and it's so fragile, it's so delicate that it's bound to get snapped off. So what I've done is I've made 2 of those out of steel wire, 0.5mm steel wire, soldered the little T pieces onto the end there, and then I'll super glue the mirrors onto that. These 2 pieces here for the air lines to the front, a red and yellow line to the front. There's a little bit of PE underneath there, as you can see, and that is extremely delicate. How long that would last if you actually touched it, I don't know. That's all of those. I'm sure there was something else that I'd put on. I know about the little fire extinguishers there. No, I think we're all but there. When the bonnet goes on, it will cover, you may have noticed that you can see some of the wires there, but when the bonnet's on, it covers everything up. It's all gone, disappeared. One thing I'd say about the bonnet, that there, is even on the box, on the artwork on the box, it has a Scammell sign on the front. The real one certainly does. The real truck has a Scammell sign on the front. There's no Scammell sign, there's nothing, which is very odd. They've gone to a lot of trouble to put the Commander sign on the side there, but nothing on the front. What I've done, I get nothing from anybody else for advertising stuff, but what I've done is I've gone to Accurate Armour and ordered some 2mm letters, and I'll simply cut a piece of plastic sheet and then stick the word Scammell onto it. If they don't stand off enough, then I'll double them up. They're not the cheapest things in the world, as anybody that's ever used Accurate Armour will probably already know. And that is about what I'm up to with this. I can't think of anything else that I need to tell you about. One thing I would say is when you put this together, the wheels, in particular the front ones, where they connect to the axles, they are very fragile. Where they connect to the axles on the rear wheels, not quite as bad, but they are very fragile. The wheels don't turn, but what's that on there? Don't turn, but that joint there inside, I snapped it off on two of these. Two wheels snapped off, and both the front wheels literally just fell off. So what I've done is I've drilled tiny little holes in each axle, put a little stub of steel, 1mm diameter steel wire, and then stuck the wheels onto that to give it some more strength. Whether you want to do that or not is up to you, but it's obviously, if it gets knocked, you're going to have to do a lot of repair work. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you've got any questions, any comments, please don't hesitate, leave them in the boxes below, and I shall speak to you next time. Ta-da!